The most popular bet type in sports betting happens to be the one that makes the sportsbooks the most money. Each month, revenue reports just like this are published by each state, and they all show a detailed report on exactly how much money they make by sport and by bet type. And it shouldn't come as a surprise, parlays are what make the most money for the sportsbooks. All those $5 and $10 parlays add up to millions of dollars of profit for the bookies. But did you know there are certain types of parlays that most sportsbooks won't even allow you to do because they have such a high win probability? I know you've heard it before, parlays are sucker bets. Unfortunately, for the most part, they are. But not all parlays are created equal. And in this video, I'm going to explain how to optimize your parlays. I'll explain a couple tips and even go over some actual parlay combinations that can increase your all-important expected value. If you're going to do parlays, at least give yourself every possible advantage with them. Now, it's important to remember, parlays shouldn't be a big part of your overall betting. I like to look at parlays and even teasers as tools in a bettor's tool belt. You don't want to use a screwdriver to hammer a nail. You want the right tool for the right job. And with parlays, you want to use them in certain situations, and I'll discuss those exact situations along with some helpful tips to avoid making those sucker bets. It's easy to see the appeal behind parlays, those big payout odds, and that's probably a good starting point for this video. On the screen here, this is a standard parlay payout odds chart. I should probably explain what exactly a parlay is for anyone who does not know. And really quick, a parlay or a multi-bet, as they're referred to outside the US, is when a bettor combines two or more wagers into a single bet. So if we look at the chart here on the screen, we see a two-team parlay pays roughly plus 250, assuming both bets are minus 110 juice. All bets in a parlay have to win. If you lose one, the parlay bet loses. Now, I've done a bunch of lessons and articles on why parlays are bad bets, and I'll link one of them in the description below. But in this video, we're talking about the upside to parlays and how to increase your expected value. Now, before getting too deep into this, if this is your first time watching a Betting Network video, I appreciate you tuning in. We try to provide real actionable information to help the recreational sports bettors lose less betting sports. Everything we do is 100% free, from our daily picks to our tech service. It's all free, and the links to join are in the description below. Or you can simply text the word picks to 617-855-0334. This text service is how we get you our bets that we like the most in a timely manner. With multiple sports in season right now, timing is very important, and the text service allows us to get the bets out quick so you can get the best possible price or spread or total or whatever. It's 100% free, no card info needed. We're not going to spam you with nonsense or share your info with anyone. You'll just get our strongest bets that we think have the most value. The only thing we're ever going to ask of you is if you've ever learned anything from any of our videos or won money from our daily picks, you tell someone about us, maybe share a video, like or comment. And please, if you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, doing so or any of those things is greatly appreciated. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I see a lot of these cappers and pick sellers out there. They charge money for everything they do. They're making a ton of money, and most of them don't even know anything about sports betting. I'm determined to do this the right way, but in order to do this, I need your help. And if you ever have any questions about anything, shoot me a comment. I'm very good at replying to the comments below and would love any feedback. But now let's get back into the topic at hand, bringing back up the parlay odds payout chart. And without going too deep into the math, because math is boring, let's be honest, you do want to keep parlays to either 2 or 3 teams. We can consider this the first rule. I know it's tempting adding more teams because the more teams, the bigger the payout. But when you get to the 4-team range or higher, that's when you actually start to get ripped off. And the math is very easily explained in the article I have linked in the description of this video. The fair parlay payout odds exist only in the 2 and 3-team parlays, unfortunately. So we want to stick to 2 and 3-team parlays only. Now, the next one isn't really a rule or anything. It's just something you want to be aware of. And it has to do with a very popular parlay bet type. We've all done the big moneyline favorite parlays. They never lose until they do. I just randomly picked some big favorites for an example here. That's not a bet I'm making. Don't tail that or anything. But my point here is being aware of the payout odds and the math. There's millions of parlay calculators. You can just Google them, but I'll also link the one I like to use in the description below. But here's an example of a 4-team moneyline parlay. You can see here on the screen, $100 pays 62. And like with most parlays, we want more, a bigger payout. And what most bettors start doing is randomly looking for teams to add to the parlay to just beef up the payout, right? But most of the time, adding that extra team or that extra big favorite doesn't really help. I just added a 5th team and it's a big favorite, but the point is adding another spot doesn't automatically increase your payout odds. We added a spot to make this a 5-teamer instead of a 4-teamer, and the payout odds increased $6. Even if you think it's a lock and no way that extra team loses, it's not worth adding. Upsets happen and you're adding another possible outcome or a chance of losing for basically $6 or nothing. The last thing you want to do is just start randomly adding games to your parlay. Use a parlay calculator and see if even adding that extra big money line favorite does anything or increases your payout odds. There's sometimes even adding an extra spot just does nothing at all. Or, so the benefits of using a parlay calculator will show you what the true payout odds should be. Now let's get into, how we can really increase our edge using parlays. The real parlay advantage is what's called using correlated parlays. And it's simply, it's betting one outcome that will increase your chances of another outcome happening. The best example I can use is one that you definitely won't be able to bet at any sports books, but it's just an example of what a correlated parlay would be. And, it's betting a team, say, to cover the first half of a game and the full game. In the NFL, a team who covers the first half spread will also cover the full game roughly 70% of the time. Now, of course, no sports books are offering that option. They used to way back in the day, but you got to get creative now. A more common correlated parlay that most sports books would accept is in baseball, and it's maybe betting the road underdog and the over. And the reason this is correlated is because if the road underdog is winning, the home team will get their at-bats in the bottom of the 9th, which adds 3 more outs to the game. And in theory, those extra 3 outs converts to a potential extra half run on average scored. So it doesn't sound like much, but we're dealing with a very thin margin here. And over time, that can certainly add up. Now, I'm not going to go over every single sport example and use a correlated parlay. You'll have to get creative on your own. Plus, the bigger factor comes down to what sports books you have at your disposal. Some sports books don't even allow you to bet same game parlays, but a lot do. FanDuel, DraftKings, they all allow you to maybe try something like this. In NFL, betting an over on a QB passing yards or completions, and you combo that with, one of the quarterback's main wide receivers to go over his yards or receptions. That would be heavily correlated. A QB who has a lot of yards will correlate to a wide receiver having yards. I know a bunch of books allow those type of bet types. You just got to kind of pick and choose and, see where you have an edge. Now, there's another type of parlay I want to go over, and this one's a bit more tricky, and it's harder to find, and it involves knowing how to find bets that have positive expected value or that are plus EV. EV stands for expected value, and all it really means is how much you stand to profit by making this type of bet over the long term. For the most part, you'll need a model that has been back-tested to confirm which bets have expected value, and chances are if you're running a model, you're already likely aware of this parlay strategy. But just in case, I'll go over it anyway. If you have 2 bets that are plus EV, it does make sense to combine them in a parlay because it increases your expected value, obviously. In theory, it's very simple because you're just combining 2 bets that have an edge. But the problem is finding 2 positive EV bets. That's a difficult part, and very few can consistently find positive expected value bets. Now, the expected value formula isn't really rocket science or anything. It's multiplying your probability of winning with the amount you could win per bet, and then just subtract the probability of losing multiplied by the amount lost per bet. Expected value, or how to identify expected value, could really be a whole video series on its own. but it's worth mentioning in this video because, it is one of the times where parlays is advantageous. In simple terms, parlaying positive expected value picks will get you a higher expected value payout. And if this all sounds confusing, just know that EV, or expected value, boils down to just basically this is how much you are expected to win or lose on average if you place this bet a bunch of times over a long period of time. Now, I'm going to stop here, but in summary, there are times when parlays are good bets. There are a lot more ways parlays are bad bets. I hope you guys found this video helpful or informative. I have a list of videos I'll be doing, so if you enjoy these types of videos, make sure to hit that notification bell and be notified whenever we post another video. I appreciate you guys for watching, I really do. And until next time, good luck with all your bets. And as always, may all the umps calls and all the loose balls go your way.